Hi, it's Steph. Thanks for clicking. This is my 5th update for Clues Special Panning Edition Round 3. This is the Pantastic Ladies collab that I created based on the board game Clue. As in the board game, there are 6 suspects, 6 weapons, and 9 rooms. In the panning version of the game, you get to work on 3 of those from each category at a time. You choose your prompt, you pick an item to go with it, you roll a pair of dice, which gives you your usage goal. Once you have met that usage goal, you get to guess a suspect, weapon, and room together, and if that combination is wrong, I will eliminate one of the wrong parts for you. The project started on June 9th and it ends whenever you happen to solve your individual case. I do still have solutions from round 1 even, so if you have not solved round 1 yet, you still could if you really wanted to. That answer has not been lost. In the last month, I have been working on suspects, weapons, and rooms, and so we're going to go through how my progress has been going for this year. First suspect was a rollover last time, and that is Colonel Mustard. He is something yellow. This is my Lime Crime Electric Slide eyeshadow and brush stick in the shade Mega. It is a yellow eyeshadow stick. My goal was to use this 8 times. At the last update, I had 5 of those uses, and I did get the other 3, so this is a goal met. This isn't rolled all the way up, by the way. I've had this for about 2.5 years. I'm pretty pleased with the progress that I have on this. I like it as a base under oranges and sometimes red shades, but I don't usually wear it on its own. There it is all the way down in there if you want to see that. But Colonel Mustard is now a goal met and can be guessed. Last update, I brought in Miss Scarlet to investigate. She is something red. This is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Heat in the shade Hot Cherry, and the dice told me to use it 12 times. So far I am at 3, so I do still have 9 to go. It's a nice gloss. I don't wear it all that often. I need to wear it more. It does have a plumping effect. I didn't buy it for the plumper effect. I just wanted to try the Fenty lip glosses, and these ones were on sale as opposed to the original formula. And lip plumping isn't something that I really think that I personally need in my life, but this is what I have, and I will use it 9 more times before I can guess Miss Scarlet. The other suspect that I brought in last time is Professor Plum, and he is something purple. This is a lip crayon of an unknown brand and shade, but it is purple. My goal was to use this 8 times. So far I've used it 4. So unfortunately I did not hit my goal on Professor Plum. He'll be rolling over 2 for another 4 uses. This is a nice fall color. This is the time of year when I like this most. It is purple, but it's also sheer, so it does definitely give a color, but it's not like bam in your face color, so it is more wearable that way, but this is going to be in here for another 4 more uses before I can guess Plum. Now we're into the weapons. I was only working on 2 weapons because I'm kind of ahead in that category. I do have several goals met in this category that I haven't guessed yet, so it really only made sense to work on the 2 that I didn't have filed yet. The first one is the candlestick, and the candlestick is something you display. I have my lipsticks in a rack on my dresser, so they are displayed in my bedroom, including this L'Oreal Coloration the Shade Montmartre. I rolled the dice for 9 for this one, and so far I've only used it twice. That is because this is kind of taken a backseat to a multi-stick that I have in a different project, and they're kind of similar shades. It is the multi-stick on my lips today, so they are kind of similar, and I was using that instead because that project ends sooner. But I will get my other 7 uses on this. I do really like this lipstick, and I'm looking forward to using it more. My other weapon that I was working on is the knife, and that is a product that betrayed you. I was betrayed by this Lancome Dual Finish Powder Foundation because it comes with this puff thing that I can't get even coverage with, so it misled me with the puff. Sorry about that, mirror. And I use a brush instead, and that works better for me. My goal was to use this 5 times, and I got those 5 uses. The rings are visible in here now. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I am using this quite a bit. I'm getting closer to pan, but I don't need to hit pan. I just needed my 5 uses, which I have, so I am able to guess the knife now. Now we're into the rooms, and I am working on 3 of those. They were all rolled in last time, the first of which is the hall, which is something that made a good first impression. This is the Lord & Berry Silk Casual Kohl Liner in the shade White, and I still love this. It made a good first impression, and it continues to work fabulously well despite being very old. It is a white eyeliner. My goal is to use this 7 times. So far I have 4. So I still have 3 to go on the haul. It's still going to be in here. That's okay. I only met goal on 1 suspect, so I really only needed to have 1 room available to guess, and I have it, so I'm not worried, but this will be in here for another 3 uses. My next room is the dining room, and that was something food related. This is the Beauty Crop PBJ Smoothie Stick Creamy Lip Crayon in Guava Nice Day. All kinds of food there. I rolled the dice and I only got a 2, so I just had to use this 2 times, and I have done that. I did use it both times, so goal met on the dining room. I do really like this color, but this is getting older, so it is drier. So it is not wearing quite so well near the center of my mouth, and I kind of get that butthole lip thing where I didn't used to whenever this was more moist, but this is now rolling out for now as a goal met. And the last item I was working on over the last month was for the kitchen. The kitchen is something that always needs cleaned because our kitchens always need cleaned. This is my Ace Beauté Serenity palette, and yes, it still needs clean. It shows residue a lot because it is black. My goal is to use this 6 times, and I've used it 4 times. So I have not yet hit my goal. I'm just 2 away. I will have goal for next time, and it doesn't really matter in this case because I'm limited in my suspects as to how many guesses I can make, but this is still in here for another 2 uses. So to summarize, I have hit goal on 1 suspect, Colonel Mustard, this month. Previous months, I have hit goal on the revolver, the lead pipe, and the rope. And then this month, I also met goal on the knife. And then for rooms, I previously had met goal on the library, and I also met goal on the dining room. So I was able to make 1 guess because I have 1 suspect, 4 weapons, and 2 rooms. Taru of Cruelty Free Panner has been keeping my solution a secret for me, and she had the honor of being the very first person this year to get her solution correct. So she has already solved her case for round 3. She's the only person to do that so far. Taru is not quite done with this project though because she still has to tell me whether or not I'm going to win or not. So I asked Taru if it could have been Colonel Mustard with the revolver in the library, and she said that it could not have been Colonel Mustard. So I have eliminated Colonel Mustard as a suspect. With Colonel Mustard ruled out, it is time to figure out how I'm going to focus my investigation for the next month, starting with the suspects. I already know that it can't be Mrs. White, Mr. Green, or now Colonel Mustard, so 3 out of the 6 suspects are eliminated, and that just leaves me with 3. I am already trying to meet goal on Miss Scarlet and Professor Plum, so really the only one that makes sense to roll in is Mrs. Peacock. Mrs. Peacock is something blue. This is the Ardensian Monster Manuka Honey Enriched Pigment in the shade Peacock. And I rolled my dice for this, and I rolled a 5, which is not so bad. So I have 5 uses on this pigment for Mrs. Peacock before I can guess her. Now we're going to look at how the weapons are looking. I know it's not the wrench, but it could be any of the other weapons at all. I've guessed each of them once, so it's all equally likely. I am still working on meeting goal on the candlestick, and I have already met goal on most of the others except for the revolver, which is the one that I have just guessed. So the revolver is coming back in. The revolver is your whole collection roulette, and I had already randomized this for the first time that I did the revolver prompt. If you want to re-randomize each time you do the revolver, that's completely fine. I'm just choosing not to do that since this is open, and I'd honestly rather just finish it than put it away again. But this is the Tula Skincare Bedtime Bright, and so I will be using this still as my revolver product. I rolled my dice and I rolled a 6. So easy to do that in a month, so the revolver I'm sure will be a goal met for next time. And then of course last are the rooms. I know that it can't be the lounge or the study, and I am still working on the hall and the kitchen. I have met goal on the dining room, but I can't guess it yet because I need another suspect. But I am going to be rolling in 1 more room, and it's one that I just guessed, and that would be the library. For the library, you can pick any product you want, but you have to tell a story about it. And as I was going up through the ranks in martial arts, I'm still doing martial arts, I would frequently paint my nails the color of my belt. So for my previous guess for the library, I started at the bottom and I told you a story about something that happened when I was a white belt because I was probably wearing white nail polish on either my fingers or toes whenever that happened. But we're now past white and we're going to move on to the next rank. In most martial arts formats, it goes white, then yellow, then orange. However, in the one I am in, it goes white, then orange, then yellow. I don't know why, don't ask, but it does. So the next color we're going to bring in is orange, and so this is my OPI nail lacquer in the shade Silicon Valley Girl. This is the product I'm going to be using, and now I have to tell you a story about something that happened while I was wearing it. I was an orange belt the very first time I competed in a tournament. And there are a lot of people who don't feel comfortable in competing in tournaments as a low rank because they feel like they want to get better before they compete. And that makes sense, except you're grouped by rank, so the people you're competing against are also improving. So you might as well just go for it, which is what I did. For tournaments, your competitors are grouped by first their rank. The white, orange, and yellow belts would compete against each other. Your age, so for me that would be the 30 to 39-year-olds, and then your sex, it would be females competing against one another. except that I was the only female aged 30 to 39 who was a white, orange, or yellow belt who signed up. So I couldn't do that, and they decided to have me compete with the men. And the reason that this was allowed is because at the time, white, orange, and yellow belts did not spar. They have actually just this year changed that rule. So if you are an adult, white, orange, or yellow, you may contact spar. But at the time, that was not allowed. And so since there would be no physical contact, I was allowed to compete against them for forms and weapons and those other events. I actually did end up winning 3rd place in forms, and I was very excited about that because I did have to actually work for it, as opposed to being the only person in my division and just being an automatic 1st place. So I do think those results are preferable, and I'm glad it worked out that way. So that's my story from when I was an orange belt, and I rolled the dice. I knew that doing another nail polish was risky. I thought about changing how I was doing this because rolling high on nail polishes makes things pretty hard, but I decided to risk it and roll the dice literally. And I rolled a 4. So it paid off this time. 4 is not so bad. I can probably do that in 2 months, and I will be using this 4 times. For next time, I am hoping to get 2 guesses. I do think I can meet goal on both Professor Plum and Mrs. Peacock. I also think I can meet goal on the revolver, though I don't necessarily need to. And then for the rooms, it should be pretty easy to meet goal on both the hall and the kitchen. So I should be able to do that without much of a problem. Wish me luck. Good luck with your projects, and I will see you next month. Bye.